There are a lot of handhelds on this table, but 3 of these handhelds are crazy powerful. But which one takes the crown? And ultimately, which one of these is right for you? Well, by the end of this video, you should have everything you need to know about handhelds to make the decision for yourself. And of course, we're gonna be measuring the winner by the gold standard, the Steam Deck. We're gonna tell you which one we think had the best user experience to date, which one left us wanting more from it, which one we can't put down, and what the Canadian Mounties have to do with this entire conversation. And all of that happens right here, right now on Robeytech after a word from our sponsors. This video is brought to you by our official Robeytech build mat. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll probably recognize it. We love these things. They're super thick and durable, and they're absolutely huge in size, measuring at 5.5 millimeters thick and 24 by 48 inches wide. This one that we have right here, man, this has been in the studio for like 4 years and it's still holding up great, no problem. We've also included all sorts of useful graphics showing different PC form factor sizes, including schematic diagrams and connectors you'll encounter probably during your PC build. Not to mention, there's plenty of open space for screw and tool organization. We designed it like this so no matter what skill level of builder you are, it could be a helpful tool for pretty much everyone. Now, you can find these build mats for sale on our Newegg store, and it's a great way to support us directly if you enjoy the content we make. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get back to the video. It's hard to believe that just 4.5 years ago, the Steam Deck was introduced to the world, and it would be an understatement to say that its impact was anything less than huge. I mean, it changed our perception on what PC gaming on the go could look like. Was it the perfect device or the only handheld to grace the market? Absolutely not. We had handhelds that we even reviewed before this with the One X player and heck, even the Nintendo Switch. But no one does mainstream adoption in the PC gaming space or avoiding the number 3 quite like Valve. And that success sparked an entirely new market, pushing companies like ASUS, MSI, and Lenovo to bring their own devices to the table. Even Zotac got in on the action. But on a personal level, I'm not exaggerating when I say that gaming handhelds have revolutionized the way that I travel and changed the way that I game when I'm at home. So much so that it's not uncommon for me to spend up to 10 hours a week using these devices. With that much time spent with over 10 handhelds inspired by the Steam Deck, as well as the Steam Deck itself, I've learned a lot. And so has my team because they're using them too. So what have we learned? Well, we've learned enough to nail down 5 factors that you should consider if you're looking at buying a handheld gaming PC, whether you're buying one of the big 3 or you're gonna get one that's years down the road. And before we go too much further, we're gonna include some data we've collected across a bunch of different devices. Some of these handhelds were sent for us for review. Some you can't even buy anymore, and others we purchased for ourselves for the sake of comparison. So as always, we do want to say thank you for those companies that actually sent us devices, but to also let you know that we have our own skin and dollars in the game here. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, Roby, why the heck did you bring up the Canadian Mounties? Well, we wanted to give you an easy way to remember what to consider when you're buying a handheld, and we landed on RCMPS. Now, if you're one of our neighbors to the north, you'll recognize this acronym as the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, if you added an S to the end. Now that you have that point of reference in your head, and we've probably ruined it for you, what you need to remember for RCMPS is resolution, chip, memory, price, and software. With this framework, we can ask questions like, what is the screen's resolution, and does the resolution make sense for the hardware that's actually inside of it? Is the chip powerful enough for you to do what you want it to do? How much memory does the model have that I'm looking at? And will it be enough to feed the chip that I'm using? Does the price make sense versus other mobile options? And finally, does the software add or take away from the user experience? Obviously, this isn't an exhaustive list, but it's a lens to help you decide whether a handheld deserves your hard-earned cash. So how much of the hard-earned cash will you need? The short answer is that depends on the model and the market. For this video, we're focusing on the current juggernauts in the handheld space, the MSI Claw 8 Plus AI, the ASUS ROG Ally X, and the Lenovo Legion Go Gen 2. And to keep things simple, we'll be calling them the Claw, the Xbox Ally X, and the Legion Go for the rest of this video. These 3 are at the high end of the price bracket, with the Xbox Ally X acting as the value leader at $999. And if you did like a spit take, hold your drinks, because the Claw and the Legion Go 2 have a starting price of over $1,100. Now keep in mind that $1,100 price tag on the Legion Go 2 has less RAM than the $1,350 model that is sitting right here. Now that is a lot of money, but there are definitely other handheld options at prices as low as $400, like the entry-level Steam Deck. Now before we look at anything else, we wanted to show you the range to help you set your expectations and of course your budget. Prepare your wallet. it's gonna be needed. Speaking of options, let's talk about chips. Now, unlike most laptops that have separate GPUs and CPUs, most handhelds are using custom SoC or system on chip that combine the two into a single die. The upside of doing this is a small footprint and a reduced power consumption cost. Both great things for a handheld platform. So what are the options for chips and how do you pick the right one? Let's start with a stack ranking based on the architecture inside of the handhelds we've tested. Understand that some of these you can't buy right now, but if you're looking at the used market, this chart could be helpful. As of this video, AMD's Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme, their Ryzen Z2 Extreme, and Intel's Core Ultra 7 258V sit at the upper echelon of the stack, and those are the ones that are going to give you the broadest range of options for what you can play on your handheld. That is until we see what Intel's Panther Lake can do inside of a handheld, and if you're watching this at a later date, you may already know. But you can actually see what Panther Lake looks like and how it works in this video here. And if you're wondering what the difference is between the Z2 Extreme and the AI Z2 Extreme, it's the presence of an NPU which gives this chip up to 50 AI TOPS worth of performance. Interestingly, the Lunar Lake chip in the Claw also has an NPU. But the big question is, how are these chips at gaming? Well, all three of these chips are actually pretty competitive, and in some cases it's horseshoes and or hand grenades close. The Claw and Legion Go put up a good fight across 8 titles, but the Xbox Ally X held the fastest time to move score in Civilization 6 and then led in FPS for Cyberpunk 2077, Doom: The Dark Ages, Far Cry, and Forza Horizon 5. Now, there are definitely other factors impacting performance other than the chip, and one of those is memory. Your handheld RAM is like a shared pantry for your CPU and your GPU cores. They both need to be fed and they're both going to the same place to get what they need. For some handhelds, not having enough RAM can cause their chips to starve, which negatively impacts performance. Remember that comment we made about the Legion Go when we were talking about pricing? The Legion Go we're using in our performance data is the 32 gig $1,350 version. The $1,100 version of the Legion Go only has 16 gigabytes of RAM. For comparison, the Xbox Ally X has 24 standard and the Claw comes out of the gates with 32. From what we've seen, you don't really want to go below 24 gigabytes, otherwise someone is going to go hungry. Having at least 24 gigabytes allows you to set aside 16 gigabytes for your CPU and 8 gigabytes of RAM for your GPU, or you could switch that up. This isn't actually a fixed number. You can actually reallocate how much memory gets used by either your GPU or CPU depending on the task you're doing. But this is why making sure you have enough RAM is crucial to the experience. Otherwise, you could have situations where games just won't launch or work correctly. And that brings us to resolution, because that can impact your experience and your performance as well. Just like laptops, a higher display resolution demands more powerful hardware and more resources, like RAM and power delivery to drive it. This isn't a huge problem for most handhelds unless you're considering a first-gen Legion Go. A higher display resolution was appealing on paper, but it did not perform well at a native resolution. As for the big three, the Claw and the Legion Go both have a 1920 by 1200 or 1200p display, while the Xbox Ally X has a 1920 by 1080 or 1080p display. There isn't a huge difference here between display resolutions aside from a slightly different aspect ratio. This one cuts both ways. On one hand, the Claw and the Legion Go have additional rows of pixels to work with, but they also have to render more pixels than the Xbox Ally X. As for the impact, it was pretty small when we looked at the gaming performance, but not non-existent. This one really comes down to personal preference on which aspect ratio you like better, and potentially the size of the screen. But what about the operating system and the software? Does that really impact the experience? While the devices we're comparing are all running Windows 11, it's their companion apps that either make or break the experiences. And this is where one of the big three is going to lead the conversation. The name of the game with handhelds is getting users into the experience as quickly and effortlessly as possible. Time to launch is absolutely key. This is something the Nintendo Switch does incredibly well if you're looking for a non-PC option here. But the quickness to get into the experience doesn't just go for games, it goes for updates too. I can't tell you how many times I went to wind down my day with one of these devices only end up playing the update game, which involves hunting down software updates in 3 different places before I could absolutely do anything. Now, I'll admit, I am totally spoiled by SteamOS on this one, but that just reinforces that time to launch is key. Looking at the software, there was a definitive winner here that got really close to the experience of the Steam Deck, and that was the Xbox Ally X. Their Xbox Full Screen Experience app is hands down the best interface to use. That isn't, of course, SteamOS. But there was also a hands down worse experience, and for me, that was the MSI Claw's MSI Center software. MSI Center, dude, it just wasn't for me. And I had way too many problems for me to ever want to come back to this one. It would do things like lock up or boot me out to the login screen, and that was after a full system reset. just wasn't a joy to use. But to be fair, none of the Windows devices get close to the SteamOS experience. The Steam Deck is just that good. So with only 2 left, there is one big question to answer. Did one become my go-to for mobile gaming? Well, let's start with the Legion Go 2. This thing has powerful hardware, it has the option to add storage, it has OLED, the detachable controllers and kickstand give it more versatility than the other handhelds, and the OLED is both huge and it's absolutely gorgeous. On paper, the Legion Go 2 has just about everything I want in a handheld, and I paid over $1,300 of my own money for it because I'm old and wanted a big screen in OLED. I wanted to love this system more than I actually did. While the Legion Space interface wasn't quite as painful as MSI Center, it just couldn't hold a candle to, of course, the Steam Deck or to the just sheer integration that the Xbox Ally X had with both the Xbox full screen experience and Armory Crate, just unified in a way that just worked. And not having a dedicated Xbox button to get to the big screen experience just nailed the coffin closed on the Legion Go for me. Now let's talk about the experience on the Xbox Ally X. Again, this thing has a good balance of components, it has room to add more storage, and the button layout is really familiar. You can see the Xbox DNA all over this thing. But not only that, it also has multiple USB ports up top so you can power it and plug in a pair of AR glasses if you need to. Now, if you asked me a year ago which handheld was the most comfortable to use, I would have said the Steam Deck. However, I think I like the Xbox Ally X even better. Even though it's slightly heavier than the Steam Deck, it's comfortable to use without a whole lot of fatigue. We've already mentioned that the interface is S-tier by comparison to other Windows devices, but the Xbox Ally X does suffer in the same place Windows handhelds have room to grow, and that's with the convenience to update. So where does that actually leave us? Is there actually a real true winner here? There is, but there's also some final considerations. Overall, the handheld that I keep reaching for is the Xbox Ally X. Aside from the price tag, there's a lot to love about it, and I can play a wide variety of games on it from platforms other than Steam. The interface is still solid, and it just feels good to use. If I'm traveling, this one is the one that's going in the backpack with me. That is, unless I just don't want to have to chase anything other than the joy of gaming. And for that, I reach for the Steam Deck OLED. This thing keeps creeping its way back into my orbit whenever I think about the simplicity in handheld PC gaming. It's quick and it's easy, it gets me into my games while pointing me to one place for updates, and with the whole Great on Deck section on Steam, which works for these devices as well, I don't have to guess if the games I'm gonna play are gonna work well on this device. In other words, there just wasn't a whole lot of guessing. Not only that, it has a much more approachable price tag. If, however, I want a handheld gaming experience that completely takes the guesswork out of the conversation and the extra libraries as well, there's always the Switch. Alternatively, the one I would reach for if I didn't want to spend $1,000 and I wanted more access to my libraries, that would be the ROG Xbox Ally. It has power on par with the Steam Deck, it's lighter than the Xbox Ally X, we've seen prices as low as $500, and you get the Xbox full screen experience. Now let's turn this to you. You now have some more tools in your toolbox, now including the Mounties to help you with your decision. Regardless of what handhelds you're looking at, remember that your situation is uniquely yours, and there are some things that may be more or less important to you than the other things that we talked about. For instance, I'll be honest guys, my eyes are not what they used to be. So having a bigger or brighter screen, multiple USB ports so I can use AR glasses, or even having a zoom-in feature with quick access like the Steam Deck, all of those things are pretty essential to me. Now, if that sounds like you and you're planning on playing anything with text, do yourself a favor and get a pair of AR glasses or get a Steam Deck for the zoom-in feature. And finally, you should really watch other reviews, especially if you can't get your hands on one of these to try out for yourself. There are things we missed or just could not cover in this video that someone else might do a better job digging into. As we wrap this one up, I hope this has been an extremely helpful guide to buying a handheld. We do want to say a big thank you to all the companies that let us have time with their handhelds, and an even bigger thank you to viewers like you. Whether you're here for the first time or you keep coming back, we literally cannot do this without you. As always, leave us a comment down below and let us know what you think. Was this guide actually helpful? And if you have a handheld, what other advice would you have for handheld shoppers? And if you decide to pick one up after watching this video, let us know which one you got in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, if you like this video or you learned something from it, we'd love it if you hit those like, subscribe, and notification bells. We're always looking to see if you like the content, and if you do, we'll make more of it. And we have more content like this coming here at Robeytech, Robeytech Live, and all of your other favorite social media platforms. And hey, if you have questions or you want to talk about this video, hop into our Discord over at discord.gg/Robeytech. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.